Hey guys, welcome back to the weekly watch list here where we go over what we're looking at for the week on levels as well as what we're looking at on the markets, overall, the underlyings, earnings, and news. So let's get right into it. We got earnings whispers here. We got earnings reports this week. Honestly, nothing really significant this week, again, like last week, which is good. We are coming up on tech reports, though, I believe in 2 weeks. So it's going to be a big week that week to be aware of. Be very, very careful. Going over news this week, a little bit filled here this week, not going to lie. We are pretty packed, kind of like we have been for the last few weeks. Just not as much, but definitely stuff to consider for sure. So coming off Monday here, we got Michelle Bowman at 8:50. We got Chicago PMI at 9:45. Dallas Fed meeting at 10:30. Not so much significant. Chicago PMI is going to be our more important one here, obviously, our green tags. When we look at construction spending jolts here as well, 10 a.m. reports, 9:45 PMI manufacturing final. So that's going to be some news right there before open to be aware of. We also have ADP employment report here at 8:15. Beth Hammock speaks at 9 a.m., which kind of sucks. It's really close to open, but it is what it is. 10:05 a.m. Muslim speaks. Those are going to be kind of our more significant ones. Petroleum status report, we're probably going to be going by 10:30 anyway. It's not a big deal. Factory orders, ISM services index, EII natural gases. Again, these are kind of later. Usually we're gone by 10 o'clock, but you never know. Something to be aware of, especially on a Thursday with given increased volatility. Nice thing is our highest volatility, highest risk day is going to have almost no news, so that's a great thing to see. That's very nice this week. So jumping right into the markets here this week, levels-wise, nothing really too significant, honestly. Not any significant trends. We're kind of just in a general area here. Of consolidation, so to speak. If we go and zoom out here, you can see it's just kind of a range we've been stuck in here from the 57.33 level up to the about 58.22 area. So it's kind of where our range has been. It's kind of more so I think it's no, this is not a supply zone, but this is just basically a consolidation area. So what we're looking at here this week, like I always like to say, is confirmation to a certain direction on the day-to-day basis, right? So we're kind of looking at here upside sentiment here this week. Coming into this, it looks like we maybe even hit new highs on the all-time highs on the market this week on ES and NQ as well. With this given structure, we're kind of looking like we're rallying again, which is great to see. See that given direction. So what I'm looking at on this given levels-wise is going to be 58.07, going to be 58.10 level. More significant is going to be the 58.22 level. We can break through that. We're definitely going to see all-time high 58.30 for sure on this. Like I said, we're up on the up here, so we got a pretty good rally, gapped up last quarter. So we're looking to see pretty good upside incentive here this week. We have a notable 5-minute channel here that I charted out here. I don't usually chart on the 5-minute much, but this was very respectable. Really kind of showcased a good structure development here, I feel. We're looking at seeing a new high here too. It's kind of rallying, not as strong as ES is, but NQ is definitely getting there. Couple little levels here as well. Significant levels are going to be, 20,331, 20,395. So more so the 20,400 level and the 20,250 level, right? Those are going to be our more significant levels that we need to be aware of here. Let me chart that, make sure that's correct. There we go. And then have the 30 level as well. So those are going to be our more significant levels here. To be aware of on ES. Like I said, it kind of looks like NQ. This kind of looks like we're just going to develop more of a rally here and kind of upside. Again, we are kind of wicking here, though, as you can notice here with this trend. We're kind of rejecting at the 20,250 level. So like I said, if we can kind of break above the 20,260 area, 20,260 level, then we're going to be seeing some notable upside divergence and strength. And hopefully it'll pull our companies up as well this week. And we can see some actual, consolidation breakers, as you can see here. We got like Apple, not doing much, stuff like that. So going into our first company this week is going to be AMD. AMD on my main watch list is going to be filling a gap actually here. We have the 121 to 174.53 gap here on AMD. Pretty notable gap, pretty large gap for this company. We're kind of approaching up. We broke 170 Friday, but I was watching that level for quite some time. Unfortunately, it broke quite late in the day. So it is what it is. But coming into this, looking into the scalp here, probably going to be looking at the 172 level, 170.50 as entry on this given trade. More than likely, this is looking pretty clean. I like this. Into the gap fill here. Potentially even a separate trade at 175 when we get up to that area. I do like the 175 area. It's very, very low volume density. As you can see here, there's almost nothing. It's a very big bottom. So pretty good pretty good indication to have some pretty good trades this week. Only issue is this is a rising knife now at this point. It's overextended, so something to be aware of and not get caught in. Second watch is actually going to be Google. Kind of rinse repeat normal stocks we look at every week, right? But there's a reason for that. They always give us the best moves, the highest probable, and always get us paid, right? So that's what matters. So when we're looking at this, I like the 169 level still. We had that test last Monday. We actually did, or sorry, what was it, Tuesday? We caught that. Pretty good percent if you played it right and didn't get greedy, stuff like that. Trade like I trade, play the scalps. Don't count, try to look too much continuation. I always say continuation is inconsistent. Breakouts are always consistent. Much higher win rate. So I personally just go for consistency above getting that larger move always. Play it safe. So when we're going into this, I'm looking at the 169 level personally. I'll be looking at 168.50 potentially as entry as long as we diverge correctly against the market and have proper strength. I don't want it to be overextended at my entry, and I don't also want to see kind of indecision. I'm going to be basing it off of momentum as always. Going off of when we're approaching, when's that momentum going to pop in, and I'm preferably within the first 5 minutes is when I'm really going to be looking at this trade. It's always when we get the best moves on Google. Anything after that, volume dies out, continuation and momentum alone, both of those do not happen. So going to be disinterested in this company when that time comes, if it happens after the first 5 to 10 minute range. Volume will be gone by then. So next setup is going to actually be, Microsoft. Microsoft on the main list here. Microsoft, funny enough, not the most familiar with this company, but we do have a pretty clean setup here at 415. Going into the 414.29 level, I like this bottom here. I believe there is a gap here, if I'm not mistaken. I may be mistaken on this. Yeah. I am mistaken on that. My bad. So this level looks pretty good. It's a nice bottom here. Going into a very low density volume range here. Kind of reaching out of that area into the 415. That's the only red flag though is where the actual entry is kind of looking at 415 is higher volume, but we're breaking into a lower volume range, so that's a green flag that I really do like. So I am going to be looking at this at 415, likely to break maybe pre-market. So 414 is probably going to be the more likely entry. However, another red flag I have on top of the fact that this is a pretty volume dense, saturated area is going to be the fact that we are having a pretty notable 1 hour trend here that also carries over to the daily. That I wasn't the biggest fan of here, so this could look for a little bit of rejection if it kind of forms up in that way. So something to be aware of, but still one of my higher quality mains on the week. So going into my side watches, I have Meta and Nvidia. So start with Nvidia. I know that a lot of people are going to like 125. Low density volume. Blah, 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 so on and so forth. It's 125, but I personally like 126 more because of how many rejections we got, and the bigger thing is going to be this notable downtrend we have here that's actually a daily downtrend. It's a pretty heavy trend, and it's respected very, very heavily. You can see on the 4 hour, it's respected to the wick pretty notably a lot of times. And so, to me, I really don't like this too much, as well as we already just broke this like a week ago as well, 125, so not the biggest watch, going to be at the lowest of the list for sure, but it's still worth making note of. 126 to me, and then 127 is target on this. 127.67 is going to be pretty far, but I will be seeing the scale out of 126 and close position likely in 127. So we'll just kind of see based on the price action we get at the time, as always. And then the final watch is going to be Meta here. This is probably going to be a side, depending on if it sets up a little better. We get a bit of more of a pullback here. Pre-market would be great. Or if we get closer to 600 even, right? We kind of get closer, kind of skyrocketing near that into the pre-market 599 area. I'm really going to be liking this 600 area. Just play it smart. I'm definitely going to be in half size, given that it's just an all-time high. And it's already incredibly overextended. You can see this here on the 4 hour. Like, it's just a straight rising knife in one day. So this is not something to mess around with. This is something that's going to get you caught real easy and get you a really heavy loss if you don't play it smart. So just size accordingly on this one. Play really smart. It's just a high. It's not a setup. So be smart with it, right? If this is off open 100%, you need to be in half size, if not a quarter, especially if you're a new trader, small account. Don't be stupid on this. Now, my last side watch is actually going to be Tesla. I'm looking at Tesla here, downside and upside. I'm sure a lot of people are only looking at upside, but I do like this downside gap that we actually just formed on Friday. I'm looking at this at 245, at the 245 level. I'm not sure why it's not charted. At the 245 level was the one I liked here. Into the gap fill here, 244 probably as target. Depending on how much strength how much weakness we have here, I may even look to hold even longer down to maybe 243, 242, and even potentially down to 240. I mean, we have a lot of room on this downside move if this happens. So this is obviously this company is hard to gauge the volume profile. I also say that like it's not as applicable to this company because it isn't. This company just has high density volume ranges. But this area is still one of the higher ranges, so it's just something to be aware of. Upside, we're coming into more of a dip range here, so that's why I kind of like the upside here as well into the 252 area, into 253 maybe. 251 is a potential. It's just kind of, I want to see a little bit more of a pullback, but it's still the start of the gap. It's still valid. So 251 may be end up what we'll be looking at tomorrow. But to me, I feel like this is going to be probably closer past 251, straight closer to 252, come off of pre-market, close to open. I feel like that's where we're going to be at. We're going to be looking into the 252 level, into 253, maybe even with room 255, depending on the strength we get, right? So that's going to be all my watch list for this week. It was a quick watch list, pretty easy read this week. Wasn't a big fan of a whole lot, if I'm being completely honest. AMD is going to be my, one of my big watches around with Google off open here. And I think I just need Meta more to set up, more so later in the week, and the other, they're okay. Tesla, especially if we get downside, that'll definitely be one of my higher favorable trades. So overall, that's the watch list this week, guys. I appreciate you watching. As always, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know if there's anything you don't want me to update and upload that you might want to see in the future videos. Always open to suggestions. And as always this week, play it smart, play it safe. Don't take subpar companies, subpar setups, and let's do what we do and be professional day traders and kill it. Peace, guys.